In the early 1900s, the Maserati brothers created Maserati primarily to go racing. They used the Trident, Neptune's Trident from the fountain in Bologna, and then with their desire to go racing, they had to turn their attention to the automotive industry and get cars out on the road. And David is here from the Maserati Owners Club. It's great to have you here. So many beautiful cars. Behind you, the Mistral. But it didn't start out as a Mistral, did it?
No, it started out as a Due Posti, which is not exactly the sexiest kind of name in the world. And I think one of the distributors turned around and said to them, like, that's not a great name. So why don't we call it something a bit more sexy? They call it Mistral. And that's where these wind names started to come from. And then they continued to use them. They thought, that's a good idea. It's something a bit different to everybody else.
What can you tell us about the Mistral that's here then?
The car that took the last of the real six-cylinder racing engines and they popped it in a body. They had to sell some cars to make enough money to do everything else. They really were interested in racing. The cars came as something extra to that because they just had to finance it. And they realized there was a good opportunity for having something ultra nice, very fast, very sexy, very Italian, and they produced beautiful cars. These were much more expensive than almost anything else on the market.
Pure racing heritage under this one. What were they going for back in the day then? Do you know what the price would have been for something like that?
I don't actually.
No? But what's it worth now?
I know the gentleman that owns it a lot.
A lot. He wouldn't sell though, would he?
He wouldn't sell. He's an ex-chairman of the club,
okay.
And he loves this car. But this is a car that gets used very regularly.
Yeah.
Okay, it goes out on rallies. The dog goes in it.
Oh, really?
Okay, this is not something that's just left in the garage and polished. This car works.
What would this be like to drive? And every car's got a little subtlety. I know we're going to come to Shamal in a minute, and that's got a lot of craziness. But what's this one like to drive? Because it looks very planted, it looks very elegant, it looks very classic and classy.
Okay, I must say, I've never driven this, okay? But I know people that have. And I know somebody in Australia that has, I think, 5 of these now dotted around the world, where he goes to America and he gets in his Mistral, and he goes to Germany and gets in his Mistral, and he tours for months a year in one of these. Because he said it's the most comfortable car and the most sensible classic car that you can use. It's ultra reliable. It's very comfortable, it has a lot of luggage room, it looks nice, it's small, which he prefers. Okay, and
But potent as well. It must
potent. Oh yes, it's potent.
Do you know any facts and stats
This
about?
would be about 300, 220 horsepower.
Wow, okay.
Which is quite a lot for a smallish car.
Yes.
And this is all aluminium. So you don't see these as being rusty things. This is all aluminium.
300 and something brake horsepower, that would get you 0 to 60 in what I reckon, 7.5, something like that? Yeah, okay.
I followed this car many a time, okay, and it goes really well.
What about design influences on it? Because it's got, if you think of the era, this harks back to many different, this is the late 60s, isn't it here? You think of other cars around the era, it's got a certain, it's almost borrowing some other marques out there, dare I say.
I don't think it borrowed, I think it started it.
Started, there you go. But design influences then?
Fua, one of the big kind of names in car design during the area, or during that era. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
You look at it almost from any angle and it's actually nice, where a lot of cars in that era were just boxy and clunky and had bits of Americana type of trim. This didn't. This was a gentleman's car. This was old money's.
It is old money, that's for sure. You mentioned boxy. Now, dare I bring us to something that falls into the boxy, inverted commas, category, the late 80s, a Shamal. Now, tell me about this, because when I look at this, I can see so many different cars in there. I can see a Lancia Delta at the front. I can see craziness going on at the back. It's short, it's stubby. What can you tell me?
This was the last iteration of the bi-turbo era. So Tommaso had bought the company. He was trying very hard to make it into a more volume manufacturer. He was taking on like BMW and its early 3 Series and whatever. And he was determined to produce cars that people wanted to buy, but at a much greater price range. So, and we'd come away from the earlier Grand Tourers and things into something that was much more modern. This was the last iteration of it, and I've driven one of these, and I must say it's quite a scary experience. If you change gear, the back end wobbles. If it's damp, has no driver aids, nothing at all. It has 350 odd brake horsepower, I think something like that. It's got a V8 engine. It is a beast, and it's turbocharged, twin turbo. So it comes as a bit of a rush. Okay.
Yeah.
So this car is something that you drive with extreme caution if you want to keep it.
It's very short wheelbase. It also strikes me, it's almost two cars or three cars in one. It's that idea of the front, the design at the front of the car didn't meet the design of the back of the car. What's going on here?
Okay, they increased the size of its haunches at the back to make it look more aggressive. If you look particularly down the side of the car, it bulges out. A lot of cars in this era they came from like rally car designs. People were putting bulges around the wheel arches to extend the wheelbases. This was an iteration, and then the interior was a pure 70s, 80s kind of supercar interior. It was designed to stand out, and it certainly did. I mean, it's very, very unusual. Very much a Q car. Not many of them were sold. Very potent. They were the end of, I mean, there's a bi-turbo. It started from one of those. The Carif was quite late in the bi-turbo era, but the underneath of that and that is very similar.
It's terrifying to get behind the wheel of. I'm going to move us a bit
more difficult.
More difficult, there we go, to a Ghibli here, which is, when you want presence, you want to stand out, you'd be hard-pressed to find something better than a Ghibli.
That, I think, is one of the, it was the first real supercar that they produced. That was a Grand Tourer par excellence. That's the car that if you got slightly bored in a club in London and you wanted to go to Monaco, you jumped in one of those and you did 160 mile an hour all the way across France. That's what it's designed to do, and that's what it does. I have a Gran Turismo Stradale, which on certain occasions I've driven fairly quickly, of course not on public roads, and I've followed these on track. They go very well indeed.
What's going on under the bonnet there? What's
V8 is one of the interesting things here was, designer-wise, he wanted to keep this very low sloping profile. He thought it would probably be less wind resistance and go faster, but B, as an aesthetic designer, they thought that this would be a particularly lovely profile and it would sell. So they actually dry sumped the engine. They took the engine, the V8 engine that had been used beforehand, they laid it on its side and dry sumped it. So it's physically lower in the car. That had the benefit then of lowering the center of gravity as well and making it even more dynamic. But you know, this car was an absolute first really for Maserati. It showed their real engineering excellence, both in engine construction, the way it worked, its interior, the whole thing became one of the early super.
What words would you use to sum up the Ghibli, this Ghibli?
What word?
Yeah.
I think a lot of very, the type of people that bought it were film stars. They were exceptionally well-heeled people. They were the counts. They were the princesses. They liked this. This was ultimately one of the smartest things you could buy at the time. 3 times the cost of a lot of other things from people like Aston Martin and whatever. This was really an expensive option.
It's just got so much presence. It is so big. It is so beautiful. And it's a real, I think when you say, what is Maserati? You just point at that and you walk away. Foot down and cling on. David, thank you.
Thank you.